Okay. What's your
Okay,
question?
so my first question
Okay, this is gonna be good.
that I think was very intriguing to me. How did you identify me as one of the potential hometown heroes?
Okay. Well, as I, have shared with you that the Financiers Forum is not my dream child. It's been given to me as a responsibility by the Lord. So with that in mind, I know what the purpose is. I know what the vision is. So what I have to do, part of my responsibility, is to pray and ask the Lord, show me people that would be able to deliver what needs to be delivered so that this forum can be what you want it to be. I can't go by people I know or who I think, because people have experiences that I don't know anything about. So I have to lean and depend on the Holy Spirit to lead and guide me. And I'm on social media, and a lot of times I look at what people are doing. One thing about social media is that I had no idea that some people I know are so incredibly negative, right? They are mean,
Exactly.
right? When I look at some of their social media posts, they complain, they're mean, and I'm like, whew, I didn't know that they were so mean. But when I would see your post, I just saw consistently how whoever you're working with, they look intense. Those young people look intense, and you don't get to hear what you're saying to them, but the look on their face and the way they're going about it, I could see like he is training them hard, and no one looks angry or complaining. You know how kids can be sometimes.
Exactly.
So I'm like, well, whatever he's doing, they are all in. And that was just the thing that just stuck out to me as I would see your posts from time to time. And so on that particular day, I think it may have been a Friday, I was like, God, who else do you want at this forum? And I was just on social media, just scrolling. And because when I scroll, I'm scrolling on purpose. And you had just put up a post, and I stopped and I looked at the post and I read it, and it was not anything pertaining to what I was doing, but I saw the post, and the Spirit of the Lord said, reach out to him. And I didn't know how to reach out to you. So, but that's a small matter,
Right.
And so I just knew, okay, I'm going to reach out. And I didn't know all of the things I know about you now. I just heard what the Lord said, reach out. And so when the first 3 times I tried to reach you, I couldn't reach you. And I know what resistance is. I know when I'm being blocked, and I can discern when I'm being blocked. And so I was like, okay, I see what this is. And so that's when I just went on and persisted. And once we got on the phone, I knew then, like, okay, let me listen. Let me listen, Lord. Let me hear what's happening in his business, and let me understand where he is. And then as I listen, I discern. And then that's when I said, well, this is what I'm doing. And what do you think about it? Do you think this is something that, resonates with you? Do you want to be a part? And I didn't have to sell it. It fit. So I wasn't trying to pitch you. One of my mentors that I was able to get when I went through the launch program, he talked to us when he came in to mentor us. He talked to us about the importance of having your own vision, and people have to buy into your vision. Because if they don't buy into your vision, they shouldn't be a part of your vision.
Absolutely.
And so when he said that, on so many levels, I could relate to that, right? And that's why I don't pitch. What is there to pitch? Especially since the conference is called the Financiers Forum.
Mm-hmm.
So when people hear that word, they think it's a money grab. It's all about money. And I'm like, no, that's because you got to hear it on another level. It's really about being the forum. The forum is a word that relates to Greek, and when you sit down and you legislate. And so I don't have to pitch, because I'm not trying to convince anyone. I present the vision, And if it resonates, then you'll buy into it because you're buying into something that's already within the inside of you based on what you are doing. Because I don't want anyone to come and pretend. I need them to be willing to come, be vulnerable, and share their journey, and be generous, to be interested in other people, to be the gift that they need to go where it is that they're trying to go. So as I listened, I just had to listen with the ear of the Spirit. I just had to listen to your journey. And then when you finished telling me, I said, well, this is what I'm doing.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it worked.
Yeah.
So, what do you envision the forum going? Saying, where's the next step? This is the start, but how far do you think?
You mean the big thing?
The big thing.
Can you handle it if I tell you?
Oh my goodness, I hope so. Let's see. You're so full of surprises.
It's not that I'm full of surprises. It's just that I live a very supernatural life.
Yes.
So the big thing is for me to be able to, in the vision I talk about financiers in the making. The forum is the making element of it, right? But ultimately, the big thing is for God to have people that He can partner with to make them successful in whatever venue they are in.
Yes.
But from that surplus, they are able to then turn around and finance kingdom agendas that God tells them. It's not for me to tell them what it is, but because their relationship will be strong enough so that they can hear from the Lord. Because remember, for believers, hearing God is a non-negotiable. He says, my sheep hear my voice. So I don't have to tell them where to invest in finance. They can hear that from the Lord.
Yes.
But you can't do anything broke. The best thing you can do for poor people is not be one of them.
Yes.
Right? So the big thing is, number one, that God would have financiers who are not ashamed to say, I've partnered with God. He leads me, guides me. I partner with God for what I am doing so that I can bring His agenda to the forefront of culture. Then to be able to take it and expand it to the place where we can actually impact culture for the kingdom of God. Because it's dark out here in these streets.
Right.
Very
Absolutely.
Spiritually dark. And until God's people are not afraid, not broke, not without vision, when those things turn around and God's people stand up and are not ashamed of the fact that they are well in their profession because they partner with God, and they will be a gift to somebody else, because starting a business is hard.
Exactly.
It is very scary, even if you have a clear vision from the Lord. So people need to be successful and then turn around and show others how to be successful, so that ultimately kingdom culture can be manifested where people are. And I just love the aspect that God has given me for the local economy, to make a local impact. Because some people are very happy being wealthy for themselves. So they don't care where the money comes from. It can come from their zip code or another continent, just long as their coffers are going up. They're not really thinking about the local impact. But we all live someplace locally.
Yes.
And I feel, should be looking at making a local impact, the hometown hero.
Giving back.
Yeah, wherever. And I don't look at it as giving back. I look at it as stewarding.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not giving back. I'm stewarding. I'm stewarding my region. I'm stewarding my territory. You know, it's a spiritual thing for me.
Right.
And when you start thinking about territory, then it's not an element of giving back. It's I'm bringing my influence to a territory. And you have to start locally before you can think about anything else. So you're local. I've lived in places in towns where the local neighborhood was torn up, but people are talking about the pride of the city. But wait a minute, your block is a whole mess. So there's an importance, I feel, in having a local impact, because by having having influence in what happens locally, it changes everything. And you can't do anything broke and poor except beg.
True.
And be a victim. But we don't have room for victims.
True. So when a participant leaves the forum, what do you see, or what would you like for them to gain or grasp when they leave or they exit the 2-day program?
Okay, so the coming together is really to synergize and to get wisdom from those who have been through the stages that they are in. So it's like a big brain dump, right, in that moment. But not just from the stage, not just from the heroes, but the threefold cord. So they have to be able to connect with the person to their left or to their right, to be able to have a relationship, build relationships with people who are striving towards doing the same thing. They don't have to be in the same industry. Right. But they have to have the same interest of building an ethical and profitable business where they are, right? So the forum is like that big boost, that vitamin B12 boost at that moment where you leave with connections, you leave with wisdom, you leave with insight. The day 2, that's when the experts are there. So that's where you have I have people who are coming in who are good in insurance and who are good in banking. I mean, you make the money, you have to protect the money so that you don't end up without the money, right? So you have real solid tactical for how to handle your money and how to handle your business. But at the same time, you leave with wisdom, you leave with connections. Now, outside of our time of gathering, I have a group that's putting together an app for me. So then we connect and stay connected via these wonderful telephones and an app that the lectures and the information will be stored on the app. We can maintain community and connection on the app. So we will have the opportunity to continue our discussions, ask questions, and have the heroes, kind of chime in with how they're, like if something happens in the business industry, maybe the heroes might want to come in and chime in inside of that online community on the app. So the gathering is that boost, but life happens outside of the gathering. We keep it going throughout the year.
Wow, continue to grow and evolve.
Yes.
Wow. So, next question for you.
Yeah.
Who is this designed for? What are the individual? What type of people should attend the conference?
Okay, so let me start with who this is not for. This is not for the person who is business minded to the point that they just want to be a side hustler. Okay, now the reason being is because side hustlers may not be ready to make the kind of commitment to their business right now that we're talking about. So that's why it's not for the side hustler.
Right.
And I say that because there's a different mindset. I've had side hustles. I wasn't thinking about having an enterprise, right? But I had a hobby that I liked and I made a little money doing it. That's a side hustle, nothing wrong with it. But I'm trying to build a financier who always will have a larger vision. So with that, going into business, what I've had to learn, that number one, it takes an incredible amount of personal development. You have to change. You have to change on so many different levels to be able to function as a business person who has a big vision, no matter what your industry is. And sometimes when people are in a side hustle, they're not really ready to make that commitment to themselves. You have to read a lot of books, because there's a lot of things you do not know. You have to do a lot of networking. You have to do a lot of talking to people. And sometimes when people are doing a side hustle, they're not ready to make that personal commitment to get there. So that being said, the Financiers Forum are for people who are either starting their business, are in it and ready to grow, or people who are shifting. However, they know that their business has a larger purpose. And they want someone to come in and mentor them. Do you know how many people actually do not have business coaches? Most people don't have business coaches. Like most people don't have most athletes don't have personal coaches.
Yeah.
They don't have personal trainers. And people in business a lot of times don't have business coaches. They have friends and family, but they don't have business coaches. And my doctorate was in mentoring. And one of the things that I learned when I was doing my research is that people, pastors who were accomplished, successful in ministry, they were not interested in mentoring. Crazy.
Wow.
But for a couple of reasons. Number one, they didn't feel like they had the time. Number two, they didn't really trust investing in other people because they were a little bit paranoid. So they felt like whoever they would invest in would just kind of come steal their members and all that kind of stuff. They didn't have faith in the mentee. And then number three, they didn't think the mentees would listen. So the Financiers Forum is for people who have the ability to listen. You have to be able to listen deeply.
That's a key skill.
Yeah, you have to be able to listen deeply, because when you're sitting down talking with someone who has the wisdom that you need, now they may not be in your industry, but they have wisdom in business. You have to be able to listen, because what they're telling you might not be something you can apply today. It might be something that you need to be thinking about for 5 years down the line. And if you lack the ability to listen, then the mentor is going to feel like, I'm really billing right now at $8.50 an hour. You're wasting my time.
Right.
If you're not going to listen to me, like I had to step away from my business to come here to mentor you. And if I feel like you're not going to listen, why am I wasting my time? I work at so many dollars per hour.
Exactly.
Right? So it has to be for people who are willing to listen, who are willing to make the inward changes that they need to make so that they can be successful in their business, and they have to be committed to their business.
So this is not for everyone.
Oh, absolutely not. I'm not for everyone. You're not for everyone. We are gifts.
Absolutely.
And it's for people who are ready to receive from gifts who care about them.
Excellent. Good deal.
Anything else?
No, you've done it all.
Come on, give me 5.
Thank you.